Hi, and welcome to the module number 3. This is the final part of this course. I hope you will enjoy it. After seeing how agents, crews, and tasks can be used within your project, and what's the main motivation behind having features like this, it's time to move to flow and state management. Flows and state management, but in particular flow, is something quite new in CrewAI that many users like me were waiting for. And it's something you can leverage whenever you want to create complex flow without taking care of the flow itself and how the flow is implemented, and without taking care of how the states are actually handled under the hood. All these functionalities are provided by CrewAI at this point. So, what's the motivation behind flows? First, of course, as you can imagine, we want to build workflow. So flow is all about workflow. And one can say, yes, but I can build my own workflow. I don't need to learn a new feature. I don't need to use something external like a third-party solution to build workflow. Yes, the problem is that you have to take care of a lot of things that are already provided by CrewAI. One of these things is the state management. How expensive is to build something that is taking care of the state management of the state across different tasks, crews, and executions. This can be very complex, and let's remember that here the focus is to work with agents. We don't want to reinvent something that we might have available in the package that we're using. So the focus is not about creating something that handles the state, but instead the focus is about solving your problem with agents. So with CrewAI and the flows, we have this really nice state management that does a lot of work with you, and it's all about sharing the state of whatever you need to share across different tasks and crews. Then we have this event-driven architecture. The idea is that once again we focus on having everything as dynamic as possible. We are not fixed to one initial solution, but instead everything is dynamic, and thanks to the way the workflow, the flows, and the state are implemented, once again this is all dynamic, so we don't have to take care of how to optimize our solution while running our code. It's already happening under the hood. And another important point is the flexibility, because here we will see it in the next slide, that we have decorators that can allow you to create conditional logic loops, and as you can see here, branching for customized processes. This is really expensive if you have to do it. But here you're just using a decorator that allows you to wait for a specific function to be executed and then move to the second one once the first is executed, or perhaps having conditional logic, like if one of the first two functions are executed, please move to the third one. And this is an example. Is quite straightforward. We have two actions, and before moving to the action B, we want to wait for the action A. And this can be easily done with CrewAI. We will see how the decorators allows you to take care of situations like this. We start with start. Is the decorator you use to tell CrewAI that this is the function you want to execute as a first function. In this case, we have generate actor. So this is an example where we generate an actor and then we generate a famous movie. And the point here is not really about agents, but instead is about taking care of the flow that you want to have within your solution in the code. In this case, the flow is generate the actor, and then once you have the actor, move to generate famous movie. Let's compare it to the classical approach. Let's assume that you have just a simple prompt and you're basically writing this logic inside the prompt, and you're saying, hey, once you generate the actor, please move to generate a famous movie. You don't have any guarantee that the execution will be followed in the way that you're actually explaining this to the LLM. You don't have any guarantee about that. The only thing you can do is to play with the prompt and try to be sure as much as possible that the LLM will do what you want it to do. But here we have a direct control on how we want the flow to be to look like. In this case, as I said, we want to generate the actor and then move to generate the famous movie. We simply do it with this decorator, start. With the start, we say, okay, first, we execute this code and we generate the actor. And then we move to the second part, which is listen. Listen, also a very powerful decorator, in this case, has a lot of things happening under the hood, but we don't really care. We just use listen and we say, listen to this specific function and execute this next function, in this case, this method, generate a famous movie, only after the generate actor gives me an output. So we can be 100% sure that this will be the flow of our application. And flow also provides a way to conditionally interact with the loop. What I mean is that let's assume you have this start method and then you have a second method and the logger. The point is that the logger doesn't have to wait for one specific function. The logger waits for any of these two functions. So the logger will log the start method or the second method, doesn't matter which method is executed first. And in order to ensure this, we don't have to create anything exotic. We don't have to mess up with Python and for loops, if then else constructs. So what we do is just using the OR function. So whenever we call OR, we can pass two methods, as you can see here, start method and second method, and whichever runs first is going to be logged. And you can imagine that thanks to this, you can actually, so the possibilities are basically, we said something about conditionally interacting with the loops. What did I mean? We have seen an example in the previous slide where three methods were executed one after the other. But what if we have a bit more complex scenario where we don't want to have this cascade approach, but instead there is a condition that says, I will log any of these two functions, no matter which one is executed first, I will log them all whenever is one of these two functions are executed. This is an OR condition. And we do have this provided by Flow, so we don't have to do anything on the top. We don't have to mess it up with for loops, if then else. We can just say listen or start method, second method. So we're basically listen to both methods, and whichever is executed first is going to be logged. And this is as easy as it is. We don't only have OR functions, but we also have the classical AND function, and eventually we can also use the router, which is basically routing to a specific function. Then we have another important concept which is part of the flow, and it's called state management. Because when we are dealing with workflows in general, most of the times we have to save the state of whatever is happening inside the application. And this can be actually very annoying if you have to implement it from scratch. In this case, we don't have to actually implement it, we just have to use it, and everything is already optimized. So why working with the state is important in this case? Well, first of all, we have a structured state management. This is about data consistency. We don't have to dive too much into this concept, but you can imagine that if you're working with the wrong data types and you're accessing the state from several parts of the code and several executions and workflows, this can be very annoying because it's almost impossible to debug. So it's something you have to be sure of every time you work with the states. And in this case, you can have it by default because you just use a state that is implemented inside the flow. Another point is the schema model. In this case, everything is implemented on top of Pydantic. Pydantic ensure with this base model that we have the right schema model, and we are we're not messing up with data types and schemas, but everything is kind of almost working out of the box, at least from our point of view. And of course, we can have auto completion because here we're talking about Python code and everything works very smooth because it's pure Python. For now, that's it. And we did check a lot of concepts here. And I guess it's time to put what we learned in practice. I hope you did enjoy what we have seen so far. That's it for now. Thank you.